Hellcat.
Hello and welcome back to the channel, where once again it's time for another Saturn review, and as you will have seen from the title of the video, it is of course another fighting game. This time it's a 2D fighting game. It is Golden Axe the Duel, a conversion of an arcade game which came out here in the PAL region in 1995. Now this is very simplistic storyline here. The Golden Axe has reappeared and a bunch of fighters are gathering together to see who can get control of it. That is it. There is no mention of previous Golden Axe events, no mention of any of the other characters from Golden Axe history. Death Adder is here. He is the main villain, even though it's believed he was killed in previous Golden Axe games. Like I said, it's not mentioned whatsoever. So let's get on with the review of Golden Axe the Duel. So when you hit the main menu, you'll realize there's pretty much bare bones minimum stuff here. Game start, VS and options. Heading into options, it's pretty standard stuff. You can change the strength of the characters for VS battles, change the speed, change the difficulty, change the kind of time that you have to battle, whether you get life up, on or off, potions that you start with, checking the BGM, the music and the sound effects. Pretty standard stuff. So heading into the one-player game, you'll see you've got a selection of characters: Caneblade, Milan Flare, Julius, Zoma, Jam, Death Adder of course, Keel, Doc, Green, who looks like Blanca, and Panchos. A few things I want to point out really before I go in to talk about how it looks and plays and all that is one thing, this game has quite long loading times, and I've cut some out already, but it does take quite a long time for each battle to load, which is a bit of a niggle. Another one is the fact that the characters have absolutely no background given to you about them in the game, gives you absolutely zero connection and feeling for them, and they kind of just feel generic, most of them, or copycatted from other games. I'm not going to lie. The green guy obviously is a complete rip-off of Blanca, and if you pick Caneblade, it's going to be like you're playing as Ryu or Ken. But anyway, that's that. Let's get on with how this game looks, how it sounds, how it plays, what kind of lifespan it's going to give you, and whether it's worth playing today in the year 2022. So, how does Golden Axe the Duel look from a graphical standpoint? My opinion, it's not too bad. Take into account it was early 1995. We were still, most of us I would say, were still in that 16-bit era, and this game definitely is more presentable than fighters probably on the 16-bit consoles at the time. It looks pretty good. The character models are all pretty sizable. They look pretty detailed for the 2D sprites that they are. The backgrounds pretty good as well. I think there's quite a bit going on in some of them as well. It runs pretty good too. One thing I would say about the way it runs, it kind of slows down when you hit some of your moves. Now, I'm not sure if that's intended or not, but it does get a bit frustrating, I'm not going to lie, and the camera kind of pans in and zooms out at the end of fights and stuff too. I find that a bit frustrating, if I'm perfectly honest. Special moves, yeah, they look pretty decent too, by and large. It isn't a bad looking game at all. It's definitely not one of the best looking 2D games on the system, but obviously it was one of the earlier ones, so by and large it's okay in the looks department, but nothing truly special. As I go through the review, you'll probably notice a kind of like a common theme when I'm talking about each area of the game. So when I come onto the sound, I'm going to tell you that it's not bad, it's reasonable. All the sound effects for the moves, they're fine, they're generally okay. I wouldn't have any real problems with that. The music, it's a bit of a mixed bag, if I'm perfectly honest. I kind of feel like lots of the other Saturn games I reviewed have had such brilliant soundtracks. Darius last week, we've had Virtua Fighter 1 and 2, Fighting Vipers, the Shining Force games as well. Such good music. So when I played Golden Axe, I just kind of felt it was a bit ho-hum, and a couple of the tunes really grated on me. They got irritating when you were listening to them as well, and one in particular was so loud, it was just driving me mad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play you a few samples so you can decide for yourself. So moving on to the way that Golden Axe the Duel plays, and again I haven't actually got any faults really with the way that it plays in general. It rips off the Street Fighter control scheme with your light kick, your medium kick, your strong kick, your light punch, your medium punch or weapon attack depending on your character, and your strong one. It's that simple. All the special moves are activated in such a similar way to Street Fighter. Like I said, if you pick Kane Blade, his 3 standard special moves are exactly the same inputs as Ryu and Ken, so you are going to be right at home. Now your characters do have a super special move that they can unleash if they collect all 5 potions, and then can do the kind of confusing and a bit irritating command and pull it off successfully in the correct range of the opponent. Then you can execute your ultimate special move, and they do massive damage, and they do look pretty cool. It's just a fact, this is my only fault with the gameplay, that they can be kind of irritating to do, and they need you to be in certain positions. Some of them need you to be right up close to the opponent, and it is really difficult to put that command in with the button presses 2 and without getting interrupted by the computer. It's you know, it's not impossible. I've done it as you've seen in the video, but it's difficult. So that kind of brings the gameplay down a little bit, but probably the gameplay is the strongest point of Golden Axe the Duel, if I'm honest. So what kind of lifespan can you expect to get from Golden Axe the Duel? Well, the answer is not much of one, simply because once you've seen each character's ending from playing through the one-player game, all you've got left is a versus mode, and there's not really much incentive to play this on versus mode because there are far better 2D fighters to play on the system, and like I said before, there's not really much of a connection with each of the characters in all fairness. So in terms of the lifespan, Golden Axe the Duel falls a little bit short. Which of course brings us to the final question that we have every week. Is Golden Axe the Duel worth playing today in 2022? And the answer is not really. Basically because there are so many other 2D fighters that you can get your hands on the Saturn. A lot of them as well, if you're going for physical copies of the game, will be far cheaper because Golden Axe the Duel isn't particularly cheap anymore either. When I originally got it 20 plus years ago, it cost me like £5. Now if you want a copy, you're probably going to be paying about £70 for it, so you really have to weigh that up as well. If you want to play it a different way, of course, then it's definitely more accessible and worth giving it a go. Like I said, it plays pretty good, it's enjoyable to play, it's just the fact it doesn't feel very original. There's very little sort of story to go with each character, which is something that I particularly quite enjoy, and it's just not original enough basically, and it doesn't stand out from the crowd, and that in the end is the reason why Golden Axe the Duel doesn't make our Saturn top 10. It's not really close compared to the other games on the list. It just doesn't have enough quality and unique features overall to get in there. That is it for today. Thank you for watching. As always, if you've got your opinions of Golden Axe the Duel, if you played it, if you rate it perhaps a bit better than I do, then let me know with a comment down below. And as always, I will see you again soon for another Saturn review. Goodbye for now.